What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. First, before I get into this video, the title, why you clicked on the video, I just went to see X-Men yesterday, and I enjoyed it. I liked it. Good movie, good addition to the series. In my opinion, it was one of the best in the X-Men series, so if you haven't seen it, make sure you check that out. I'm a huge comic book fan. Growing up as a kid, I had a big comic book collection. Love Wolverine. Marvel's been doing their thing. Now, I want to spend some time talking about Chris Algieri and his future. What's next? Chris Algieri. Before I start, I will address this. Some of you guys didn't like what I said on my post-fight video. I know what I say. I'm there when I say it. And in my post-fight, I gave, in my opinion, Chris Algieri a lot of credit. Even though I said I felt Ruslan Provodnikov won the fight. I told you I didn't score it. I was doing the eye test. I was drinking. And just from that first initial, that's why I always go back, and especially in close fights, I always go back and give it a second viewing. Now, in my second viewing, I seen what a lot of people were talking about. I think Chris Algieri did win the fight after rewatching it, just because his activity level was there, his volume. He showed tons of heart. But it's funny that when you get on a platform like YouTube videos or whatever, some people don't like one thing you say, and then they're like, "Oh, you're stupid." Like, it's just funny to me. I find it hilarious because in that post fight, I didn't say anything bad about the dude. I said if you gave it to Chris Algieri, more power to him, and I'm okay with that. But some of you guys, I guess, felt I didn't give him enough credit or whatever the situation was. But after rewatching it, I would give him the fight just because that's how you score boxing. You have to score based on activity, volume. Some dudes are just fucking tough, and Ruslan Provodnikov is one of those. So because he's not as affected by the shots, that doesn't mean he's down in the fight. And I think initially just probably drinking and just seeing his eye, that big ass swelling and stuff like that, it obviously influences you. And just being live in the moment and the adrenaline of a fight, because it was a great fight, exciting fight. So there's a lot of detractors that kind of influence you, and not really HBO commentary or nothing, because I tend to tune them out because they say dumbass shit half the time. But just like I said, the swelling in the eye and whatnot, and just it being live, you don't get to calculate, and sometimes you miss certain things or whatever. But rewatching it, I would have gave it to Chris Algieri. I even said it in my post-fight, it reminds me of Chavez Jr. versus Brian Vera. Brian Vera showed tremendous heart, had the higher work rate. This is the first fight I'm talking about. Chris Algieri did the same thing. And in the Vera fight, his shots didn't look as impactful, didn't look like they hurt Chavez Jr. the same. But again, you can't score boxing like that because Chavez Jr. just has a granite fucking chin. Some dudes can just take a lot of punishment. That doesn't mean that they're not winning. You know what I mean? Like, honestly, Brandon Rios kept coming forward against Pacquiao. I'm not saying his Pacquiao shots didn't hurt, but you wouldn't necessarily be readily able to tell other than when he got knocked down. He just kept coming forward. Some dudes can take punishment like that. And Pacquiao dominated Brandon Rios. So just because a guy doesn't have the same punching power, you can't not give him the fight because his fights aren't affecting. And I think Ruslan, again, slowed down too much, just like he did with the Timothy Bradley. He had his man hurt on the hook, and he let him go. You know what I mean? He just slowed down too much after rewatching it. A lot of people are talking about Chris Algieri versus Pacquiao. I want to spend some time talking about that. That's an okay fight. I like Pacquiao versus anyone who has a stylistic, different approach, you know what I mean, other than a come forward brawler. But some of you guys didn't even know who Algieri was before this. Now all of a sudden you want to see this in Pacquiao. I would rather see him fight other people like Danny Garcia. I think that would be a great fight and a more meaningful fight. I don't really give, like, if Pacquiao beats him, I wouldn't give him as much credit. I mean, if Algieri can muster up what it takes to beat Pacquiao, then obviously he's going to get a lot of credit. But I just think there's better fights out. That will be yet another person moving up in weight to fight Pacquiao from 140 to 147. Now, it looks like he's in shape, but the guy doesn't really have much punching power at 40. So him moving up in weight, I don't really want to see that one as much. But this is a fight that, in all honesty, they might try to make because Pacquiao's running out of opponents. Marquez might be playing hardball and wanting too much money or wanting to leave their saga intact how it ended in their last fourth fight. So it's a reality, but in my personal opinion, I would rather see him stay at 140 and fight some of the guys down there. Even a John Molina, Lucas Matthysse. I mean, those guys showed tremendous durability in their fight, and that would be a very similar, because arguably Lucas Matthysse, in my opinion, I would say he's more calculated than Ruslan Provodnikov. I don't know who hits harder because I never got punched by them, but that would be interesting to see if he could defend against a guy like Lucas Matthysse or even a John Molina, who in my opinion, they're a little bit better on the boxing side. They all have power, but they're a little bit better as a boxer. Ruslan is just a brute force, like almost caveman type, that a lot of people can't deal with that. So that's why I thought Ruslan would beat Chris Algieri just off of brute force and strength and attrition, but I was wrong. Danny Garcia, another fight. Danny Garcia had severe problems with another boxing purist type in Mauricio Herrera. Not much of a big puncher, but Herrera unlocked the key to Narnia and shit on Garcia, and that was that fucking jab. That jab created a lot of openings for Herrera and a lot of problems for Danny Garcia. So in my opinion, I would much rather see Danny Garcia versus Chris Algieri, another guy who you know is going to come in shape. You know he has a good activity level. You know he has heart. I mean, anybody who gets battered in the first round and gets their eye bashed the fuck in and can't see, yet they are still standing at the end of the fight, you got to give them credit. You know what I mean? That's a true warrior. So some people are gunning for this Pacquiao fight. I'd rather see Pacquiao fight a Golden Boy fighter or somebody at 47, namely not a rematch. And now Ruslan's pretty much out of the picture because he just lost, and he lost his title, so that doesn't really make sense. So hopefully they make a Golden Boy fight with Pacquiao, and we see one of the dudes at 140 go after the title or try to unify the title, like a Danny Garcia, a Lamont Peterson against Chris Algieri. That's my personal taste. That's what I like, and I'm sticking to it. Make sure you like the video. Let me know what you guys want to see next from Chris Algieri. Do you want to see him move up and wait and fight Pacquiao? Would you rather him fight one of the guys at 140, Danny Garcia, Lamont Peterson, Lucas Matthysse, John Molina, or even an Adrian Broner? Adrian Broner fights really flat-footed in recent fights. So would he be bothered like with a guy like Chris Algieri? Yeah, he could. You know what I'm saying? Chris Algieri is pretty tall for his division as well. Plus, he's a good mover. He's good with crisp boxing, scoring shots, things like that. So I would love to see a fight with even Adrian Broner and Chris Algieri over a fight with Pacquiao and Algieri. So that's my honest opinion. Let me know what you guys think. What do you want to see? As always, hate, comment, or subscribe. Till next video, it's Ego signing off.